HHDG.
Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media Podcast. Big shout out to our Facebook group tuning in, HHDG Hip Hop Discussion Group, as well as everyone tuning in through our YouTube channel. Big shout out to our HHDG Media Inc. company. Sorry about that. That is Rock Vader KB, myself, Wiki, T Smith, the Mayor, and Skelly Top. As you can see on our banner on the bottom, you check out our website, hhdgmedia.com. Put up new music, mixtapes that we're working on that are currently released as well, and also our merch and future events. For tonight, we have a man of many talents and is in all types of aspects of the music industry. You know, he is a true person. If there was an image of work ethic in the dictionary, this man, Marq Spekt, would definitely be that type of person you'd see in the dictionary. He's his journey from MCing to owning his own label, the artists, the producers on his label that he's put out, well known, respected, and a lot of them are continuously elevating on their journey. Repping Philly, you know, and those ties still hold strong with his label, Grilchy Party. Currently, you know, he moved, and with that, some of the artists that he's worked with are from those respected areas, and he continues to showcase talent, which is a blessing. Doing very, very well with the label, and I would say with his journey in MCing is what, how would I say this, gave him the proper experience with what he's doing with his label, Grilchy Party. We're definitely going to talk about, you know, Brody Champs, the Buse Brothers. Y'all definitely know about them. And just, you know, his ear for talent. So I'd like to introduce Marq Spekt. Peace, peace.
Peace. What's going on, man?
How you doing? Doing good. Doing good.
Excellent, man. It's a pleasure to be here, you know.
Absolutely. I'm glad you had some time to take out to speak with us right now.
I mean, I don't have much, but I do have some.
It's all good. It's all good. Wow, where do we start? You know, I was bringing up the Brody Champs, you know, talking about, but you know, tell us a little bit about that early come up.
Oh, the come up is before Brody Champs. You know, I was in the studio in 1995, actually. First time I was in the studio. First show I ever did was 1996, opening up for the Ram Squad and the man they call Lux in Philly. So, you know, it goes back to there. You know what I'm saying? Even further back was battling people in 1991, 92, you know. So it's been a journey. I didn't get to Atlanta until 1997, like late 97, August 1997. I got there, and that was basically my mission. I had some boys who went down there the year before, and they kind of they etched it out. Like I think they was messing with like Tony Draper or somebody down there and recording music, but it was short lived. My man was supposed to go down for a week. He stayed down there for 2 months, and he was like, "Yo, I ain't want to come back to Atlanta." So that put the bug in my ear then. So when I finally
Mm-hmm.
got a chance to leave home and shit, that was my target to go down there. Because, Philly, we battling on South Street, Love Park, the blocks, everywhere else like that. But there's no kind of foundation in Philly. There was nothing there other than a little bit of love, a lot of hate, and a lot of people trying to do the same thing. So once I got out
Got
of
you.
there, my mission was to go to get out and just be heard somewhere and level up. And that happened in Atlanta in 1998. I went to Hit This Records because it was down the street from me. So I went there to kind of check it out, and I was always rhyming everywhere. In Atlanta at that time, it wasn't nothing to catch a cipher everywhere. Downtown, 5 Points, AUC, every part of Atlanta was people rhyming in the street. And that's the thing that really attracted me. So when I went to Hit This, the record store, people was passing the mic around or whatever. I end up grabbing the mic. I didn't even know it was a contest. So I'm spitting, and the dude who was hosting it, it was a dread that was kind of hosting it, was kind of getting, acting higher than everybody else there. And I'm like, yo, I don't know you. So my instinct was when I grabbed the mic, I was coming at him. You know what I'm saying? I was just coming at his neck. Boom. So next thing I know, I'm leaving. This chick, Fiona Bloom, grabs me by my shoulder, like, wait, wait, wait. Where you going? You won the whole contest. So I was like, yo, I didn't even know this was a contest. So I was like, what I win? It's like, oh, well, you got a little deal. So you're going to be flying to New York to work with Ultramagnetic MCs, said G. Like, what? Word? Little per diem money and just traveling off my words, man. You can't imagine that flight I took to get to New York. I said was staying in Harlem at the time, and ended up doing like 2, 3 songs with him. And I'm just in New York all of a sudden. I had set my mind to go do something and inadvertently stepped into it where I'm getting paid for bars and getting, all type of stuff. And I didn't even realize it, but it was changing my situation and moving from up north to down south. So that's where it really
Mm-hmm.
started. Brody Champs came in 1999, 2000 from just being around different ciphers and seeing different MCs who spit that really didn't have any structure. They wasn't in groups anymore. At least Nice wasn't in a group anymore. He was structured. He was already in a group. But Abnormal, who was Buddy Lee, and PG, Point Guard, and Scholar Golden, the Golden Scholar, they was all just rhyming and freestyling. I brought everybody together and was like, look, we're going to write rhymes and know each other's raps and get some beats, and we'll just work like that. And that's how it started. I had an apartment in the hood on Angier Avenue. You know what I'm saying? You got to step over the dead bodies to get to my house, my little apartment I had. And anybody that knows a block off Boulevard. So right there in the hood. And we was out there chiefing, writing raps. And, it was a small, small, small spot. My whole apartment was probably the size of this room. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a studio. It had little rooms and stuff. You had to go to the bedroom to get to the kitchen, bathroom, or whatever. But it was the hood. And there was something beautiful music made and formulated. And we started something that was real. Ended up getting a deal off of that.
That's dope. Wow. Hmm. That's really dope right there.
But before that,
Yeah.
actually, you know what I'm saying? I had 321 Records was what Fiona Bloom and Said You and all them were a part of, and that kind of folded and collapsed. And from that,
Mm.
I still kept in contact. And one of my boys was Self from the Micronauts, and he was on Subverse Records. So that's like early '99. I think he had got signed to there. Introduced me to Big Just. Still doing my thing, freestyling, getting around. And Micronauts had me open up a show for him in '99. Now on that show was like MF Doom, Science of Life, basically the people who were rotating around Subverse at that time. I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm just doing my little thing. I had a couple, solo songs or freestyles written to different beats. Ended up going up, and I guess I bodied it because MF Doom came up to me with a Heineken at the end of it and was like, "Yo, you killed that shit." So I guess Just seeing how the
Respect right
merchandise
there.
was on me, and then seeing how Doom was like on me, like, yo, this kid is nasty right here. He
Got
pulled
to
me to
get
the
yeah.
side. He pulled me to the side and was like, yo, we giving you a deal and shit. So I got pretty much signed on the spot by Just. He took me under the wing, took me over to where they was recording, knocked out a couple songs from there, and had a single on Subverse that was about to be an album until 9/11 happened, and towers came down, which shut down the whole industry, and they were in Manhattan. So, you
Mm,
know, I'm at the time talking to Doom all the time. He like, yo, I'm gonna produce as soon as you get your budget. I'm gonna give you a bunch of beats. You know, I was building an ID from Silence of Life, getting beats from him. And we did Rock Steady that summer too, up in New York, and tore it down. So we were looking
dope.
ahead, and then once it collapsed and I got to see how independent labels really function, I was like, yo, this shit kind of stink. And I wasn't feeling how the indie structure was at that time. That's why you call it a label, but Grilchy Party is not really a label. It's a marketing company.
Hmm.
It's
Definitely.
hard to wrap your
Okay.
brain around that because people are so used to saying like, you know, and I sometimes say it like it's a label,
The,
an
the
indie,
music, yeah.
but it's not because all the musicians are not really signed to
Mm,
me like that. We just have
right.
licensing kind of agreements where I help them market, promote their stuff. If you notice,
Mm,
I do limited edition product with each of them. You
right.
know, it's just that the relationships we built, they like what the way I'm moving, so they stick along with me as opposed to going here and dealing with this person or this vulture or this or that. It's a much more pure experience because I'm also an artist too. Or I was an artist at one point where I kind of relate to them, they relate to me, and I'm speaking to them in a way where it's like, you know, I'm not taking anything from you. I'm trying to add to what you do. Anybody could leave at any time. But the thing
Mm,
is, everyone's happy with that arrangement because yeah, we do get a little bread for our things. We do make some incredible art that becomes collector's items. So I never thought of it as a label. I don't move as a label does. We come up with concepts, promote them, advertise them, market them, and get them out there. But I'm not a label. I tell people all the time, I'm not no label. You bring your music to me,
okay.
but you do business with me and get a check from me and all this and that. Everybody builds and puts into this pot over here. It's not just me sitting back cutting checks like, yo, I need this from you, I need that from you, and I'm sitting here milking you and your product for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. It's not that.
Okay. I appreciate, the correction on that because, I'm always seeing the music. So that's how I was seeing it as a label, but media, definitely.
This shirt right here is part of what we do too. You know, this is Ron Puma art, and I got a
Hmm.
famous graffiti writer on the back, NM from Philly. You know, he's been around for decades, highly regarded and respected. And he did the tag on the back of the shirt. You know what I'm saying? Show it to you real quick.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I'm about being a bridge for talents, seeing people recognizing their talents, putting them together, coming up with concepts, and making some limited edition product.
Dope, man. Yeah, and Ryan, speaking of Ryan Puma, he's tuning in right now.
Oh yeah, he stays on
Always
deck.
with the dope artwork.
Man, listen, he should
Always
be
with
in
the
art
dope artwork.
galleries right now doing installations. I tell him that all the time, man. Don't limit
Mm,
yourself to this hip hop thing because you could be somewhere else making art books and this and that. I'm just very pleased and proud to have him a part of the team. Like, and that's what I've been telling a lot of people is I'm just building a team. I've been building this team for years. Stuff that you see next week has probably been in the
mm,
pipeline for a year or two. You know what I'm saying? You just now seeing it though.
mm. That's dope, man. Yeah. So speaking on your the marketing, where did aside from the industry, where else did that come from? Having that mindset.
Hmm. I think I always had an eye and a taste, a particular taste for things, from gear to art to women, just staying creative and staying on tap. I mean, I still came from the East Coast, man, and I was
Mm,
blessed to have family in New York as well as in Philly. So family in Jersey, when we moved to Jersey, my pop used to take me up to New York damn near every other weekend just to go get fish, visit my uncles and relatives and his friends in Flatbush, Brooklyn. So a lot of it, I get along with two types of people, man, mostly uh, Brooklyn cats and Philly cats, and they're both the same people
mm,
who they don't like anything, they don't like anybody, and they don't care about nothing. For some reason, we get along though. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, we get along. So I'm blessed to have that under me, and I still take that into what I do as well. Because I remember I was a battle rapper since 91, 92. Just battling people in the street. I don't have respect for rappers like that. You know what I'm saying? I've never had to care about them because that's how I came
mm.
up.
Came
I
up.
came
Hmm.
into hip-hop not caring about no rappers. I still don't really care about rappers. People come up to me all the time with their rhymes and shit. I'll be like, bro, I'm listening to disco and jazz and funk at the house. There's very few rappers I listen to. I mean, I got tapes of legends back there, KRS-One, Ice Cube, stuff like that, EPMD. You know, that's where I came up from. Slick Rick, all of that mid to late 80s through all the 90s, the early 2000s. And then as I got more into just doing this craft myself, I kind of tuned it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was.
Okay. That's everyone has, certain endeavors, and I think when you see that you have a calling, you continue to pursue it. And at the same time, like I was saying with other avenues, they open up to more and more.
Definitely,
Oh,
man.
sorry.
I mean, we've been blessed, man. I've been blessed for a long time.
Mm,
So there's not really much I need. I was blessed to a lot of things that rappers brag about and they put in their rhymes and they get this and they get that. I didn't have to be a rapper to do that. You know what I'm saying? So when people be like, oh, well, this person is standing in front of this car and they profiling like this and they doing this and that. And fam, I come from a place where we wasn't writing our resume out to people and telling people who we know and this and that to kind of get any love and attention. You barely got my first name. My name isn't Mark. You know what I'm saying? That's my moniker comes from that's a name I used to give out to people like, yo, yeah, my name's Mark. But that's all it was. Even dealing with just different stuff and different people, it was like, yeah, we
mm.
don't. But people call me Specs anyway. So if you know me, you call me Spec. Anybody somebody doesn't know me when they're like, oh yeah, Mark. That shows you they don't know me at all.
Got you. Mm. When did the did Grilchy party become official?
Grilchy, put it like this: I had been bouncing around ever since Subverse. I was going to get these little indie deals, and I saw that even if they were run by rappers, the little indie deals and shit, nobody's gonna put themselves out the way for an artist to shine. You know what I'm saying? That's a gem I picked up, which is why I don't
Mm,
rhyme right now. I'm not writing and rhyming because the resources that I get, I need to be able to give all of those to the artists around me. Being on labels and stuff, you know, looks and shit like that, from even back to suburbs, it was like, yo, if something nice and big came through, you have artists running the label. So it's like they're going to take all that in and then they're going to give you whatever's left over, but it's never going to be 100% concentration on you. I set up Grilchy as a means to get myself out there where I didn't have to depend on an independent label. That's why you see the first two releases were me. And then I had been building with the Blues Brothers since 2012 about their art and their music. I was fortunate because him Low, it gave me like 12, 13 CDs after we did a show together and he met me and we built. And I'm like, damn, y'all have a lot of music
Wow.
that you can be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So used to, because I've been traveling all around here and internationally, it wasn't nothing to meet rappers and get their tapes or CDs. Even if somebody could do a dope show and they hand you a tape or CD, it was like, it wasn't the same. It didn't sound the same. You know what I'm saying? The music was pretty whack usually. So when I got their stuff, I was like, oh, okay, you coming at me like how I come at people because I always had CDs and stuff. I was like, I admired that first, and then I put the CD in. Man, when I tell you I was blown away from the first song, like, yo, these cats are really dope. Now, bear in mind, my man Philadelphia, who was my rhyme partner back in '95, he lived in Philly downtown, and he had run across them because he's big in the graffiti scene as well. So he was telling me about them in like '06 or '07, something like that. Somewhere around there, he was telling me about them, telling me about them. I'm like, yo, where can I look their stuff up? He's like, yo, they're in the hood. They're not online at all. I was like, word,
Yep.
I can't see none of their stuff. Like, you telling me they ill? And even with him, even though I know he knows my ear and I know his, I was like, I'm still not fully believing they as nasty as he's saying because I can't hear it. Plus, we didn't seen 1,000 MCs that people were like, they think they dope. They weren't really that dope. So it was like 5 years after that where I'm hearing about him, hearing about him, hearing about him. And then when I finally like linked with him and shit, and I put that CD in, man, fire. And I'm like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna help y'all get linked up. But you know what's crazy? Him Low did me a solid. This man had plugged me in to make some bread within like the same month that I had met him. I'm talking about a couple stacks. So after that, I'm like, yo, I got you. I'm gonna make sure that y'all are eating. Because if you give me $1, I'm trying to make sure you see 100. You know what I'm saying? So he he showed me the pedigree. He's real. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I got you. So even as I was shopping my stuff around, I was still shopping their stuff around. Like, oh, you're not taking my album? All right, check this out though. And I did that to like 3 or 4 different labels or whatever at the time. And everybody declined them, declined them, declined them. Now they had like a deal overseas with some label that was doing mostly like '90s throwback stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
Uh,
I think we froze. But yeah, they was doing like '90s throwback
yeah.
stuff and treating those artists like, yo, these are one and done '90s throwback artists, and you may see them one more time, but that's it. Now they had come to a standstill with that, where for some reason they couldn't press forward. So him Low was about to retire, like, yo, I'm done with this music shit. Clever's always knows Sid Grindstone, but him was like, yo, I'm about to retire, give it up. Now, when I say nose to grindstone, Clev is just street. He don't care. He's just doing it for the fun and the art. He don't judge on that. He's just
Don't care
raw.
about anything else.
Him is raw too, but he was looking at it like, look, man, I'm more structured. This shit ain't coming or nothing, and I'm about to hang it up. So I told him in 2016, I was like, look, I just released 2 records on my own little imprint, Grilchy. I said, wait a little bit, I'm gonna try something. Put together an album for me, and I'm gonna put it out through my imprint. And that was Adebisi had at the time. Yeah, so that was like
Uh,
2016 to 2017 that came out. But it was a process of just getting the songs because they were so used to doing mixtapes and just one, sheet. I had to walk them through like setting up a CD. They sending me the music as best it was, and a lot of it was very rough, but it was just rough. It was raw. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't properly mixed, mastered, didn't have all the bells and whistles. But I'm like, yo, fuck it. You want to put some artwork on it? Forget where they got the art from. Something they just slapped together. And man, I wrote up the one sheet, did all the stuff I needed to do that I was doing for myself already. And Fat Beats agreed to take like 50 copies of the CD. And that was like that's where Grilchy Party really started. I say it started with
uh,
me as far as like I had to do stuff that independent labels were doing for me for myself. But once
yeah.
I proved that I could do it for someone else, that's when I really say it started like that.
Mm. Yeah, I remember when that joint dropped too.
Man, look, that 50 turned into
Thankfully, I
like,
got a copy.
you got a copy of it? That's what's
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
That 50 turned into like 300 CDs, man. They came back,
Mm,
kept asking and kept asking and kept asking, and was like, yo, you got any more? You got any more? To the point I had to press up like another 100. So
wow.
that's what helped fuel up the next one, which was Bermuda Triangle, which a lot of people, now it's a couple of things we did wrong. And again, I learned every drop. I learned something from every drop we do. So it's like I learned from that. We should have been named it the Blues Brothers again. Instead, we named it Bermuda Triangle and Underwater Pyramids, and people gelled it, but they didn't cop it like they were copping Adebisi Hat, and they loved Adebisi Hat, right?
Mm,
So that was kind of like a early. I never say it was an L, but it didn't recoup as fast as Adebisi did to be able to do anything else. I had been wanting to do vinyl for them because I had done vinyl for myself, you know. So I'm like, yo, we got to do it right next time with everything, fix all the kinks. Himlo was like, yo, man, he felt it too. He was like, yo, man, I didn't like the way that was received, and that's a dope ass album. Now, come years later, and this is what I tell people too as a lesson is you can't call anything a failure or an L because that became a CD that multiple people hit me up about trying to find after it had sold out. Now it
see. Mm,
moved slow for like a year maybe it changed to sell out of that joint. It was only 200 copies, but it still sold very slow. But once it sold out, man, like maybe a year or two later after that, people was hitting me up. Like I sold a copy, one of my last copies for like $200 to a collector. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time we became a different species totally. You know what I'm saying? So that was very real. It showed me a lesson. But when we came back with negativity, that's when everything clicked. We did I might have one up here. Yeah.
you got the can, right?
I got the cane right here. Hold up.
Uh-huh. There you go. Yep.
We
Yeah,
did
that joint
this.
is crazy.
We came back with this concept. Now we did the vinyl, but we also got with oh
Was it
man,
Trevor Lang, right?
Trevor Lang, because he was already doing
Mm-hmm.
the comfortable thing. So this was a collaboration. And you know, take this off inside the bottle opener and the cassette.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we came and put our heads together with that concept because it's the Blues Brothers, and it made negativity shine that much more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was
Marketing, man.
4 ways where I've been telling people like, look, man, we do a lot more than just be a label.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love when that first came out and I saw that, I was like, yo, that joint is crazy. You know, the thing I
That
love
showed me a
about
lot too because
physicals, man,
that's
you
what we
can
cater
do
to.
anything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could do anything. It showed me a lot. We cater to the collectors though, and that's another thing where I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to just do something for some fly by night purchases and shit. A lot of people, especially in London, Australia, and even here, you know, West Coast, East Coast, down south, they've been sticking with me for years. Like, there's people that have been buying everything we dropped since 2016, 2017, you know, and that's really who I do this shit for, the collectors. That's why I always say
Mm-hmm.
this is a worldwide brotherhood and sisterhood of collectors and people who want that physical product. I'm starting to do more pay what you want for different things
Yeah.
because I still want people to get into the music. We got a project dropping tomorrow from a very talented cat that I've been around for a few years named Matthew from Philadelphia. He's a young boy or younger, and he's killing shit. He got a concept tomorrow called Love a Man Can for Valentine's Day. That's dropping on grilchyparty.bandcamp.com at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We're doing some specialized limited edition cassettes for that. But it's a really, really fly, laid back EP. I want everyone to check out, man.
Absolutely. And speaking on that, I was informed about this through your newsletter, which I have to give you props on because not only is it on point, but it's it gives the details of what's coming up, and you stick to it. I this is what I appreciate about your work ethic is you stick to what you're presenting to us fans, us collectors. And again, this goes back to your experience, with the music.
Oh, consistency is key, man. It's one of the
Hmm.
main things we're really, really strong with is our consistency and the fact we think ahead. And this is all lessons I've been picking up as I've been in the process of doing it. Nobody taught me this. Everything is trial and error. You know, there's things I wanted to do for years, like focus on getting an instrumental album. So even producers I was working with or this or that, I would always hit them like, yo, where's it like you do an instrumental album for me or something? Like, let me vibe. Not a beat tape, but instrumental album. And most of them would be like, yo, they just hand me a whole bunch of beats, unstructured, not put together. And I'm like, nah, you're not feeling what I'm talking about. I mean, a instrumental album. And very few people knew what I meant until I met
Hmm.
Q Airdrum. And
Ah.
he wasn't even trying to hand that in. He was just giving me something to listen to because that's something he was already kind of doing. So that was really from the Blues Brothers. That was like the next person I had picked up on the team, and he was working with an artist that I was interested in dropping something with that Sadu Gold had introduced me to. So I'm building with the artist, but he didn't have it all together. So Q was getting frustrated, like, yo, this might never come because the boy has the talent, but like many artists, he was unstructured and just couldn't get the job done. So out of that frustration, Q3 had gave me his beat tape. I'm like, yo, I've been looking for this for years, for somebody who could do this, who could put together this structured conceptual piece, and it's a complete thought. So when he did that, that was Death Strike. We put that out. It did
Oh.
very well for like just another trying something different. Now the Blues Brothers had already been established. They did Negativity, Drink Beers with Prostitutes, and they was gunning to start doing solo projects they had been working on. I think first one that low drop for me was OJ Gloves, and that went crazy. So I was feeling a little more confident to be experimental and try different things. So I think we did OJ Gloves, we did Kiss the Converse, the Clever Woman, and then I'm like, yo, I gotta refresh, bring some new energy in. So we reached out and I got Q3 under the wing too. Now he's still good, but he's doing his own thing now, which is great. You know what I'm saying? He got to the point where he just wanted to create his own path now. He's young. So I was like, yo, that's what you need to be focused on is going your own path while you got that, you know, that in. Don't look at me as a label. Look at me as just a
Mhm.
starting because you can branch off and do so many different other things. You got the youth on your side and you got, you know, the creativity. And sometimes being under an umbrella, and this is me telling him, is like that can hold you back because you're gonna want to move your own way. And then you could butt heads inadvertently because you want to move this way. The label is not structured because we already got a lineup, or the imprint is not structured because we got a lineup. So he's doing his own thing. I'm happy to see it, man. But out
Yeah.
of that, he actually introduced me to Matthew. So I heard Matthew on his Yesterday Is Over EP that we put out. Man, and Matt blew me away. I was like, yo, this is also what I've been looking for. A young bull who can spit like that. And I had kept in touch with Matthew after that and told him, like, yo, want you to do a project for us over here. I can help you. Because he had a lot of music too and just didn't have the particular direction on how to get it out in a certain way, like especially with the vinyl. He got some vinyl coming up in like 2-3 months. That's will blow you away, yo.
Oh man.
Yeah. So remember, and I tell this to people all the time, you just got to put the work in. Nothing happens overnight. This is a conversation I had with Matthew, 3 years ago now. maybe over 3 years. And he's only seeing like the light of day now with, as far as on our side, he's been doing this thing in Philly for like 10 years, whatever. But just on a breakthrough in what I feel like we could do to help propel him, this is coming tomorrow. It's a taste. It's just a complete thought. It's like a little short LP he put together based around love. You know what I'm saying? And it's called Love a Man Can. And it's flexing a whole different style, which is another thing I love. People, these rappers think I want to hear them spitting in my face, being aggressive, you know, just rhyming words together. That ain't what I'm in for. You know what I'm saying? Or what I'm into at all. That bores me. You know, like I said, I've been battling people since 1991, 92. I remember the battle scene. I don't need to have somebody 30, 20 years later try to present it to me like it's something new. So that's why I also love Matthew's shit, is that like what you hear tomorrow is like a conceptual piece. That's all it is. But you can't get lost in it like you think that that's all he is. He got so many different styles, deliveries, cadences, ideas. He can rhyme on different stuff. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for, yo, this is a boom bap beat and I wrote 16 bars to it.
Damn, definitely got to hear that. Yeah, because I remember yesterday when you announced it and you were speaking on it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look forward to hearing that.
Mm-hmm. I
And
think
you know,
you'd be
you speaking
pleasantly
of,
surprised, especially if you're used to what we've been dropping. That's kind of more hard body, especially him, low and clever. And you know, I don't put out a lot of rappers over here at all. Like I put out me, I put out the Blues Brothers, and now in the Q3 dropped like a rap LP and an EP where he was getting. They're both like a complete thought and a complete vision. They were both dope too, and it's rapping is scarcity. You know, you're gonna hear more instrumental albums over here, and we're always pushing ourselves as well. We're not being settled and just staying stagnant or anything. I dropped that Frank Carrick. You know, we're familiar with him. Grilchy Party Favors
yeah,
Volume 2.
yeah,
You know, he's a talented individual as well. Plays mad instruments. Just has a whole different ear for music. We're dropping a funk album, funk boogie album with him in
ooh,
a few months. Yeah, something that again, this is a year I kind of feel like I've got a certain base of people involved in stuff, but I don't want them to get caught up in any one thing. And I think that this is my most ambitious year to date.
continue to let that creative freedom, you know, with what they want to create and put out. I got you.
Yeah.
Mm.
People try to put you in a box, man. I don't want to go in a box until it's my time. And even then, I might end up getting cremated or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be put in a box at all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not letting people put me into a box. Like they tried to call me a rapper at one time. And I look at them like that's a disrespectful thing to say to me. Call me a visionary. Call me something else. But don't just label me as a rapper. Anybody raps.
There you go.
You know?
And you speaking of other genres, what's going on with the back row?
They gave that up, man. A couple of those
Really?
musicians tour in the world, man. And I tried to tell them years ago, like, yo, this, I had a whole concept really for them, but it didn't match up with what they wanted to do, And I'm telling them, like, yo, you're doing something that no one else is doing right now, especially with the live jazz and tapping in New Orleans and
Yeah.
letting you know, like, that's something that really people are interested in hearing more of. But they weren't getting it from their peers, so they weren't believing. The main producer wasn't believing in that concept. I'm trying to tell them,
Okay.
but ultimately they wanted to go another path. And like I said, I don't lock people into anything, so I just let them go. But I had given them a whole marketing strategy behind that, which they could have really been eating off of right now at this minute because it was so revolutionary. And again, I love stuff that not everybody's doing, man. That's what attracted me to them from the beginning. That's a CD he gave me in 2014 when I met him. We
Wow.
restructured it. It took a few years, and I said, you know what, I want to do a 45. So yeah, we did that on the 45. End up being like awarded in like New Orleans. They've used that as like promotional, um, a promotional vehicle for an awards show in New Orleans. So
Mm.
that shit could have grown bigger and been way bigger, man. But you can't share your vision that you have with other people. It's rare that they can or everybody can see eye to eye with visions. You can have a vision to see something that somebody can't see, but if they
Yeah.
can't see it, they're not going to see it. And they didn't see that vision. It
They're
wasn't.
not gonna pursue it.
Yeah, they're not going to pursue it.
Mm.
So that's something he chose to say, no, I don't want to do this. So I don't force him.
Okay.
I don't sign anybody like that. So they're doing their own thing. But that group kind of has broken up the art. The musicians are world class jazz musicians who are touring the world. It's just that he had them in the laboratory and was sampling from them and creating something totally new. So yeah, man.
Ah.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Mm.
that they got stuff I think on the original project is on iTunes, but the EP that they did for me, that's the 45. I think that's a one and done.
Hmm. Ah. Okay. I've noticed
And
with a
again, it
lot of.
showcased that I'm not a one trick pony.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I was gonna say I noticed a lot of the artists, musicians, producers are from Philly and New Orleans. Is there any type of tie-in, aside from you being that catalyst?
No, it's just me. You know what I'm saying?
It's
I
just you?
moved to Philly, I
Mm.
moved to Atlanta. Then wifey had wanted to move down to New Orleans. That's where she's from. So we went down there. I had a kid,
Okay.
and I kind of was playing that scene for a little bit and filling it out. And that's another thing is it's nothing overnight with me. Like I got to get to live with your music and see what's going on. And it's just that they were in proximity to me and they fit my vision at that time.
Mm.
So everybody fits into something else. Like with the Blues Brothers too, it was kind of like, yo, they were supremely talented, way better than average, to where it was a multiple factors that led to what happened because I feel like I've been pushing them since 2012, 2013, just on my own self, putting the word out there like, bro, Blues Brothers got this and that. But it wasn't until 2017 when I could really make it something tangible that you can put in your hand and take other places. Now I have a regret about that because I wasn't in the position to do the vinyl for Adebisi Hat and clean it up at the time, which is why like there's another label that put out I'd say a good chunk of the album, but it's still not the whole album. But by the time I had my wherewithal and structure and resources, we did Adebisi Hat recut with Giallo Point, who was part of the family.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, man. Shout out Giallo Point Hope. Um,
yeah.
great
Gotta
division.
give Giallo a
Yeah.
lot of props, man, because people say he's very underrated, and he is. He's spread out. He's got classic projects with a lot of different artists, but he likes to call Grilchy home. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way
Okay.
we accepted him in here and brought him under the wing. Like Giallo's a beast, man, and I
Yeah.
got an album coming out with him and him low this year in a few months, and I got an album with him and Clever One coming out this year. Like after that,
Damn.
yeah.
And that chemistry, man, that it's perfect. Who would have thought that the three of them, you know, would have been making dope music like this continuously.
Oh, look, man. The thing with Grilchy is I don't just get with people who I see doing one project with. Like Lord B Jitsu, when he was doing an album with
Oh,
Clever One, and that's how I got
he's
introduced.
another one.
Was I'm listening, and then they gave me his backstory, his history, and was like, yo, he never had nothing on vinyl though. Like never was really on a label for his creativity. So my first convo with him was like, yo, man, I'm not gonna be happy until we do a series or something. And shortly after that,
Mm.
he hit me up with a long email about how he was retiring. Same thing that I went through with him Low. It was like, yo, him Low's on the verge of
Wow.
retirement. I'm telling him, yo, can't go yet. We just getting started. Yeah, Beat Kundu would have been one and done for Beat Jitsu. That was all he planned to really to do was just one vinyl piece. And he saw how that went. He saw him a genuine cat. He saw like a bigger picture. And then once he got the vinyl in his hand, he understood what I meant too. And was like, yo, maybe I shouldn't give this up. Like, no, man, give me your next concept for your next 2 records. So when I
Mm-hmm.
build with artists, we don't build on an album. That's another thing that people don't understand. I don't build with anybody on one separate thing. I don't just accept submissions from people either. Like I gotta put my stamp some kind of way on it to where I'm putting my input into the product as well. Like I said, it helps me to be able to market it. And people just come up to me all the time with this one album thing, like, yo, I got an album, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, yo, I'm really not interested in that. On top of the fact that I'm already a year and a half ahead of where we at right now. So expecting me to drop everything in my hands and take on your project or whatever you're doing is not going to happen. It'll be impossible. You know what I'm saying? I'm already right now, shit.
Prepared for it.
I'm probably in summer 2024 as far as everything on my plate.
Mm. Wow. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
you brought up Lord Beat Jitsu. I tell you, man, between his production and his his ninja like stealth, where you don't you don't see or see too much of him, you know, outside of the music that he puts out. I'm like, you are in the direct connect with him because there's another DJ. I think he's from Rochester that came up with him at some point, and he was telling me a little bit about him, and he's like, that's just the way, you know, that's the way he is.
Oh yeah. That's the way he is. But look at it like this too. Most of the artists on my imprint, you know, the company, they don't have social media presence. They're
Mm-hmm.
not on socials. I am. You know what I'm saying? But most of them, you can't hear them unless you hear their music. And that's another thing I've always loved as well. And I learned that from Doom back in when he told me it was like '01 or '02. He was like, yeah, man, I just be going to the grocery and nobody bothers me about nothing. Like I be going grocery shopping, don't nobody bother me about shit. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I always took that in as a gem. Like, yo, I wish I could have done
Yeah.
it because I'm where I'm from in Philly. We don't bite. We don't like biters. We don't like people copying and jockeying off somebody else. You can be inspired by someone, but you don't have to copy them. So I was like, oh,
Right.
so
Yep.
it's too late for me to just erase my social media presence and just be known for my just music. You know, but I always thought about it in my head, like, man, I would love to just be known for my music and not have to do nothing with social media beyond promoting and this and that. But it ended up being great because I'm attracted to artists who they're not heavy on social media. You hear them mostly through their music.
Mm. That's dope, man. Um, I interviewed, I think it was, yeah, last week, Rob Cave, Small Professor, and Dallas Penn. And I brought up to Dallas Penn about how he linked up with him Low, and he gave me the story of you.
Oh yeah, Dallas is a
Mm-hmm.
good dude, man. He's internets all day, and
Yeah.
his was the first kind of blog I met that actually spoke to me back in like '07 or something like that. I was just on the net and I used to read his blog and I'd be like, yo, this cat is really into the same things I'm into. He's into a lot of law. He's into like comics and Transformers and art and
Mm-hmm.
music and movies and but he's still a street cat. Like he comes from the hood. So a lot of his writing was like a street man on the streets type of dude. But he's a wild cat,
Yep.
man. Dallas is a wild dude. But eventually I ended up even I wrote a post on there, you know, and I would hang out with him in New York and he would come hang out with me in Atlanta. He didn't even know I rhymed, which is what I like is that when you meet me, I never tell people I have anything to do with music. I never tell people I rhyme. I've never begged nobody to listen to my music. You'll
Mm.
discover it, or maybe I'll hand you a CD or something like that. But I've always been nonchalant with that. Like, That's not anything I want people to pin me as. Like, yo, you're this label owner or rapper, or this or that. Nah, man, I'm just a real dude. That's it.
Yeah.
And
If
that's
it
how
comes up in the conversation.
if it
That,
comes up, it comes up. I have females I
yeah.
was that have never knew I even rhymed or did anything with hip hop.
Mm, man. And can we, for the fans out there that have been supporting the Grilchy Party, give this man a lot of credit for his customer service. Me personally, I'm gonna give you a story. This this right here, slap your
Mm,
goddamn face off.
incredible.
You personally, I had an issue when my vinyl came in, and the cover was it was damaged badly. You reached out to me, had a little conversation and everything, and you sent me a new cover. I appreciate that.
Man, listen, that's all a part of my business because I'm you. And I treat everybody like they're basically me. If you shop with me, it's like me shopping with you. So I want to make sure that you're very satisfied with your purchase. If something comes up with it, whatever we got to do to make sure that you have that, just like how you're holding that in your hand with esteem and regarding it highly, that's how I want everybody that interacts with me to feel. I'm not just one of these, yo, well, you screwed. You know what I'm saying? That's not my
Hmm.
fault or whatever. Yo, if I got extra covers, I'm going to give you a better cover. I want you to have that. It's not about the now. I tell people the time is the most valuable thing. And I want you to be able to look at that with that same esteem that you have right now, 15, 20 years from now.
Much respect. Much respect. I know there's a lot of people out there that they're gonna hold that in high regard.
Man, look, just the fact that it's a black man in America with an idea, and you know the struggles we go through on a day-to-day basis, man, it's not easy. But the fact that I'm talking to people in New Zealand, I've sent shit to Russia, Israel, Japan, Hong Kong, Spain, Finland, all over the world. I've interacted with people. That's my emails every
Amazing,
day.
man.
People all over the world tap in and they collect something that has my stamp on it. You know what I'm saying? You can't buy, sell, trade anything for that feeling. And that's something that my son will probably discover years from now, maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now. Like, yo, my daddy had this little imprint in a business that people collected and they resell it for hundreds of dollars. Who knows what they'll be reselling it for at that time? But the fact
Hmm.
that we're creating living art right now without any big major label donors, any of that shit is just a black man putting a couple dollars together and doing some shit genuinely, authentically. Look, man, you can't put a price on that, even though they do right now, and it's some things are triple, quadruple what they were valued when they came out. That is also something I always wanted since I was a kid, because I've always been a collector.
We spoke a lot on your come up as well as Grilchy Party. Um, let's speak a little bit on the MCing because a lot of projects that you put out, I feel that more people should know about. You work with No from Cunnilingus, uh, Blockhead. I mean, who was another artist you work with? He was originally
I was on
from.
Backwoods early, you know what I'm saying, with Billy
That's
Woods,
right. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
2007 or 2008 or something like that. Released a bunch of joints on Backwoods and been on like three or four of his projects. Or no, I think like two or three. No, maybe like three or four, because he hit the Super Crown Flight Brothers as well. So
Mm-hmm.
Woods, that's a cat. Like I told him when I saw him recently, briefly, I was real proud of his progress because I know he'd been putting it in for 20 years hard since '03, and they didn't really start popping off until quite recently. And I said, look, man, I've seen the grit. He was like, yeah, you were there for a lot of it. And that's what I try to instill in people is like, look, man, nothing is overnight. Even with Grilchy,
Right.
the strides that we've made in just 6 years now, you know what I'm saying? About to be 7 this September. And we're still just breaking through, trying different things, trying to do different stuff. It's like, look, man, I come from different perspectives. And starting off writing rhymes in 1989, 1990 to now, and I still scribble bars here and there. Like I got an EP or LP in me still. I got the beats already. It's just that I can't get to writing because, like I told you earlier, I got 7 other artists to put ahead of myself. You're not gonna have success putting yourself. You got to maintain and have a big enough ego to sit your ego in the back and be like, yo, I'm pushing everything else forward to get to a bigger space. And that's what I've done.
Yep.
I got an album. Yo, if I wanted to, I got to get the discipline and the time to do it and put my bars together. But I got an incredible piece of work still left to come. The beats have been sitting there. I got beats from Blue, from Blue in Exile out in Cali. I have beats from him that have been sitting for
Oh.
like 6 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
A couple of nice joints from him. I got beats from everybody on the roster. Lord Beat Jitsu, Wino Willie, Giallo. I got beats from him low even. I got beats from Sen's Beats, who you'll be hearing from next year. He's up in Canada doing his thing. Sen's plugged in with me like 10 years ago.
All right.
And I just never could get a chance to work with him. He works with my man Lex Boogie. They put out some really dope stuff. And then Sen's has just always been around to where I'm gonna break it to you now. Sen's Beats gonna have Grilchy Party Favors Volume 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. It's a dope, it's laid back, hard, but laid back. More of a Sunday afternoon writing rhymes and just vibing in the crib thing, but that's what's coming. Wino Willie got an incredible compilation album that's coming at I think the end of the year. That's gonna be fire. There's a bunch of stuff still coming, man. I got something big planned for 420.
Keeping it busy.
Yo, that's
Now
why
I gotta show you one album that I do enjoy by you, and I've always wondered what was the story behind it, and that was Broken Mazes.
The Mazes. Oh man, I love that record. Man, I had just done Machete Vision, and I wanted to challenge myself and push myself. And I was always a fan of Gary Wilson. Big fan of his work, his quirkiness, his there's a box, but I step outside of it as much as I can type. So I just shot my shot at him. I was like, yo, man, you probably don't know me, this, and that. And he was very down to earth. He's just a musician from the heart, man. And we chopped it up back and forth for a little while. And I was like, yo, I want to rhyme over some of your stuff, man. He's like, yo, nobody ever approached me like that. So I was like, word? Nobody never approached you about rhyming over these beats, these instrumentals or whatever, your music? Like, nope, nobody ever approached me. So
Wow.
we developed a rapport and he started sending me stuff that was on reels, that was like he took his vocals off and gave me the instrumentals. Now I think Stone's Throw had put out like a couple of joints on one of their projects or whatever, and he let me rhyme over those. He was like, yo, you got my blessing. I didn't know that they had the rights to it, you know what I'm saying? But I think they both had the rights, whatever. But I noticed that one of like last year, I noticed that one of the songs from Broken Mazes was taken off the internet talking about Stone's Throw owns the rights to it or whatever. Now it's funny because I talked to Peanut Butter Wolf. I even sent him the project. He never told me that because I was trying to get them to put it out. Broken Mazes. They declined it or something happened, but he got the project. So he probably asked Gary about it, and Gary was like, "Yeah, I'm working with this cat, Marq Spekt." Da 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 da. So they never brought me no heat. They just killed it off of YouTube. So thanks, Wolf. But side note, the project, man, is one of those timeless pieces that I really, really everyone I've let hear it at that time was like, yo, this is super adventurous, but it's dope. And yeah, man, it's just me stepping out the box because No got tied up after Machete Vision. Had No not been tied up, I probably would have done like 4 albums with him because I was just in that.
Hmm.
After
Okay.
Machete Vision, I never stopped writing. I was writing and writing and writing, but he was busy. I said, yo, I'm about to challenge myself with this. So I did Broken Mazes, man. That's actually, I think, either the first or second record I released under the Grilchy Party imprint. So I had to put that out myself. Again, an example of being fronted on by labels and just having to do it on your own, man. And that's what I tell people, like, yo, sometimes you gotta just do this shit on your own, man. So I'm happy you got that record,
Absolutely.
man. It's it, they trying to resell that for like 150 right now or some shit.
Wow. Hmm.
That Grilchy Party, man, we becoming what I've always wanted, and that was to become um, an asset, not a liability. Creating assets, you know what I'm saying? Creating collector's items, things that you're just not going to find anywhere and everywhere. You got to know about it to know about it. Once you know about it, you cherish it and you keep that and you put value on it. And that's what I'm saying, man. That's what it's about for me. Don't come to me with, yo, we could sell 1 million records, or yo, we could get rich off this and that. And that's it. Like, yo, that's not where I'm at with it, man. Because eventually we all going to go. So what do we leave behind? You know, and I like leaving physical product that's people such as yourself, like how you holding that up and just cherishing that piece and really showing high regard to it. That's that's it right here for me. That's all I wanted.
Hmm. And you said Broken Mazes was like the first on a Grilchy Party was the
Keep it's either that or keep playing with Blockhead. I had released the CD
okay.
on Hypnot, and then we did the vinyl. I just invested my bread into doing the vinyl to get that started,
Hmm.
but I did both of those at the same time. So they're like 1 and 2. I forget which one was number one though. Broken Mazes may have been number
Okay.
one.
All right. And then it was At War with the Shadows, right? After that?
Yeah, At War with the Shadows was number 3. And I'm thinking about re-releasing a limited amount of that because I don't feel like people really got to soak that record in. That was me and Marq Spekt, who goes by Pyramid Tapes. He's also a dope producer from New Orleans. And yeah, I think that may have been my best record to date.
Hmm.
Now it's all subjective. But to me personally, I was in just a good space with that record, and it helped me accomplish something else as well, which was the song "17" got licensed for a major motion picture, and I've been wanting to get a song into movies for like 10 years.
Hmm. That's dope.
Yeah, man.
You have you tried putting out, say like soundtracks? Has anybody or you have you approached anyone about that?
As far as what the
Putting
soundtrack,
out yeah,
I do it all the time, man. These instrumental albums are soundtracks.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
it's
true.
I have pretty much almost just as much instrumental music out there as I do music with rhymes on it. Pardon the lights and shit too. Let me turn this other light on. But yeah, if you look at Wino Willie, Giallo. Now this is a funny thing. We released Giallo Point's first ever instrumental LP on vinyl.
Yep.
You know, I had Q3, Eardrum. We got Frank Carrick, who's super talented. About to do a thing with beats. You
Straight
know,
there.
yo, Wino Willie is just about to name them, man. Wino Willie's talent cannot be understated. That's his first vinyl right there. And that's a monster of a project, you know. And that's another thing is like I love helping artists to realize a full thought like, yo, an A side and a B side. And again, producing vinyl, this is what it taught me is to think in terms of the perfect A side and the perfect B side. making sure it's filled in to where each side could be an album by themselves.
That's true. Yeah, with Giallo Point, I caught my ear for his music probably, I want to say maybe about 7, maybe 8 years ago, maybe a little bit longer.
He's been around,
And
yo.
yeah, and what caught my ear is um, he had a very film noir type of feel to
That's
the
Jake.
production that he had, and that really caught my attention. And then from there, I realized he was part of a dope group with Fiber Optic as well, and Vic Grimes at the time. So
Yeah,
you know,
he's solo
I
now,
love
but
going down that rabbit hole.
yeah, Giallo is solo now, but he's still doing his thing, killing it, man.
Hmm.
When you hear the next two records that I got from him, it's incredible, dude. He's just a standalone talent. And sometimes people don't catch things and they may judge it or misjudge it when it comes out.
Hmm.
But I try to put stuff out that I want you to realize and look at 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I want it to still have the same impact. Like you can listen to Broken Mazes right now and you don't realize I did that in like 2011, 2012.
Mm. Yeah, I would never know.
Right. And that's the way I like to keep everything we put out to where it's going to be dope and fresh. Don't matter if you hear it now or 20 years from now, that shit is going to be fresh. And that's why I dig for records myself. But I'm finding a lot of records that I love are from 1976, 77, 78. And you put it on, it's like, man, you're still blown away. It should be timeless, man. I don't like, and I don't want to be associated with anything that just is in a capsule where it's like, this sounds dated and old and it's just past the time. You know what I'm saying? Nah.
Mm. So one thing I wanted to ask, and Ron Puma was on there earlier, is how the two of y'all connected, because I love the artwork that he does.
Same way I connect with talent, man. I reach out. I'm not afraid to reach out to talent. And Puma was doing something that impressed me. Number one, he had been following my music so like since Ghostmaker back in like '03 or '04 or something.
Oh wow. Mm.
So he had been following, and I follow, typically try to follow people back where I can. Sometimes I get lost in it, but noticing this cat's doing incredible just sketches every day, artwork every day. And I'm like, yo, this dude is a beast. And I couldn't believe that nobody was tapping in with him. But maybe I should believe it because a lot of the people I deal with on the artistic and talent tip, people ain't really dealing with them. They're just sitting out there talented. When I had the first opportunity, we were looking for the Blues Brothers were looking for artists for negativity, and they had the concept, and they were about to use the picture. And I'm like, yo, let's not use the picture. We could get somebody to draw something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. And also the drive. It's more than just the brilliance; it's the drive. The people I deal with, they're workaholics. They don't stop working. They don't take breaks. They don't sit in the comfort zone. They're constantly, constantly, constantly working. Yo, we sent him the idea. Puma had the sketch and pencil in like 24, 48 hours, close to looking like what the cover looks like now. And
Amazing.
he beasted out on that thing, and we got it back, and we were like, oh shit. It was the perfect introduction for him. Because I'm telling these cats, yo, I got an artist that can do pretty much what you want. This. And they hand me that, like, yeah, right, Spec, whatever. Then they saw it and they were like, yo, this cat Puma's a monster. And since then he's been down. Like I just texted with him a little bit ago before he didn't even know about this. But I was just telling him like, yo, what the next two pieces he's working on. That's another thing. Nobody on this side is just working on one thing and being content with that or taking a long time with just that. Everybody on this side is working on multiple things. Don't talk to me about an album. Talk to me about your 3 albums. Talk to me about a painting. Talk to me about the 2 or 3 paintings you got in mind or what you're working on. and that's rare. You know, that's a rare quality that people, not everyone has that. Sometimes it may
Yeah.
take somebody like 8 years to do one record, man. Or a picture may take somebody a year and they fucking around, running around on you. Nah, everyone on this side has intensity. You know, last week was ridiculous, man. I kind of felt overwhelmed a little bit. So I got some things going on, and I was like, yo, I just got like 4 records turned in within a span of like
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 days. Boom, 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 boom. Shit was crazy. But then I look at it like, yo, I'm constantly getting music. Everybody's still working. Everybody believes in what we're doing, and everyone's happy. You know what I'm saying about what we're doing. That's the main thing with me is I want people to feel happy about being here, being a part of this. And when I accomplish that, that helps me how I go to sleep every night peacefully. It's like you can't buy that, man.
Well, man, got to be a great feeling, man. And I meant to ask you when you showed me the T-shirt. Is that going to be coming out soon?
I might drop it this week. It's coming out very
Yeah.
soon. It's coming out very soon. I got a bunch of T-shirts and concepts. NM is a part of the team now. He's an incredible artist and graffiti talent. I mean, it's more than just graffiti with him, but this dude's a visionary himself, and that's what I like to surround myself with. High caliber, way, way, way better than average talents who are also workaholics and driven, you know, and consistent. Don't come to me talking about no music shit, man. I don't want to hear that shit. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to tell me about some album that you worked on. I don't want to hear that. I want you
Mm.
to be a visionary as well and tell me your vision for your next few projects. Yo, I'm doing this. Yo, I'm doing that. Fam, if I told you how much work I got from him low right now, or the fact that Clev working on like 3 projects, or even Matthew, who you're going to be introduced to tomorrow with that project, he's dropping Lover Man Can tomorrow, which is a dope conceptual idea. It's a complete thought. We drop in FOHDH. His Grilchy Party presents Matthew FOHDH, produced by Butter and Salmon. That's probably dropping in like May, June, May, somewhere around there. And then we're already talking about the next 2 records that he's going to drop after that. Then
Mm.
he's got a record with Wino Willie that's fire as well.
Damn. Like
So
you said, forward
not even
thinking.
he's not even out the gate to where the Grilchy audience know him. We're already discussing like 4 projects. Jitsu, he has something coming for 420. You know, Lord B Jitsu presents 420.
Mm-hmm.
Conceptual crazy monster project. I got the Booze Brothers presents Him Low and Big Nas, Crime Cousins. That's coming out on 420 as well. And Big Nas, you heard him on Drinking Beers with Prostitutes. He's a monster. He
That's
runs with
right. Mm.
he runs with Cool G Rap, and he was on a song with Cool G Rap and AZ and a couple people back in the day. But yeah, you heard him on what was the song on Drinking Beers with Prostitutes where he was on Muscle. He's on that song Muscle. Go ahead and listen to that song Muscle. The Booze Brothers featuring Big Nas. They got a nice little project as well. Him and him will come in like a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give you the layout before I go. I got coming tomorrow, Love a Man Can by Matthew. In April, I got Crime Cousins and Beat Jitsu 420, which is the Grilchy 420 party. That's gonna be a splash. We got something real special lined up for that.
Damn.
I got Frank Carrick dropping a funk album called Geology. I got Matthew coming back again, dropping FOHDH with Butter and Salmon, produced by them. It's a monster. I got the test presses here. I'm listening to that right now. I got another Cognac Kings, which is him low and Giallo Point coming. I got Clever One and Lord B Jitsu. That's coming right after that. I
Mm-hmm.
got Clev and
Damn.
Giallo Point with an album coming, and then trying to end the whole year off with Wino Willie's compilation album.
Mm-hmm. Man, for the fans that are listening, y'all already know that when he drops that date and that time, support. We always supporting, and to hear what's always coming, I appreciate it. We appreciate it because, as Mark has been saying, these people are very talented, very talented, and they deserve to be played, to be shared, to cop those physicals.
I appreciate you, man. You're obviously a collector, so you're the whole engine and the oil and everything that makes this run, man. You are the machine, and just we're fortunate to have a bunch of y'all out there who really like place value and cherish what we do because it's hard work. It doesn't stop, but it's nothing without people who appreciate it, man. So we want to thank you as well, even for your time and everything else. We appreciate y'all, man. I don't. It's nothing for me to get up when I do early in the morning, 5 a.m. returning emails and stuff. Yo, I had this problem with this, or I had a problem with that, and I'm up like, yo, let me get to the office. I'm gonna straighten it out as soon as I walk in there and get you straight. If I gotta send you a new cover, if I gotta stalk the post office to find out what happened to your pack, whatever it is, yo, we're gonna solve it, man, because y'all are me. I remember, and I am like that. I'm still collecting stuff. So it's a circle. We're a brotherhood of collectors, and I want to make sure that everyone is dealt with accordingly. And the work that goes in, it comes out, man. So even artists out there, I'm not doing nothing that y'all can't do, man. You heard me. I come from battle rapping people in the street and dealing with a bunch of labels and industry bullshit and walking away, turning my back like, nah, let me take a chance on myself and just do this on my own. Need a little bread to do it, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Definitely respect it. Highly respect it. I hope those that have been tuning in and those that will later on understand that this is what keeps people motivated. Hearing people like Marq Spekt, who not only he's not just pushing for himself, he's pushing for other talent out there. And I wish more of the world had that type of feeling, right here, that, when you hear someone, you could be a musician on the street, you're going to take that time to listen to them, find out where you can possibly, speak with them again, hear more of their music, and maybe let more of the world hear that music. And you brother, I appreciate that because that's the type of person you are.
Hey man, energy circulates. People don't believe that, but it does. It circulates. What you give out comes back. And it may not be in the way you intended, but it does come back. So I've always lived off that principle, man. I've been overseas and had people don't even know who I am. Just basically take me in off my energy. You know what I'm saying? Feed me, throw me trees, give me whatever, just off my energy. So I'm a big believer in energy, man. And it's not for nothing. So you gotta just be able to give it and receive it. That's all.
Oh, man. We at HHDG Media would like to thank Mark, giving his time in to speak with us. And we're going to allow him, give his shout outs and where you can go reach out and support the music because there's a big drop coming tomorrow.
Oh yeah. 11 a.m. Valentine's Day. I got Matthew, Love a Man Can coming on grilchyparty.bandcamp.com. That's gonna be a Bandcamp exclusive. We usually do drops there and at grilchyparty.com. I want to just salute the whole team right now for keeping me, motivated. The Booze Brothers, him, Low, Clever One, Ron Puma, my man Brett, who handles the web work and sites and everything else, helping me out. He's been helping me since I was recording music with him. He's a music engineer and producer as well. I got Giaco Point, I got Lil B Jitsu, Wino Willie, you know, of course, Matthew, check that drop tomorrow, man. And I don't even really forget anybody. NM is on the team now. Frank Carrick, um, and Wino Willie's doing a whole lot of work in the background as well. So, and just my family. My bedroom is like Shangri-La, man. Wifey holds me down. My son is growing up, taking him to boxing practice and getting him right, getting him away from these games that he's mastering, these video games and stuff. But I'm blessed, man. I can't ask for anything more. Like just opportunity. That's all I ever needed. So the more opportunity I get to do and create stuff is like, yo, man, it's beautiful. Like I could show you over here too. Like if you look, this is something that holds me down. If you can see this is a board of
Yeah.
titles and stuff that's been out or coming out.
Mm.
And that's what keeps me focused as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm one of
You
those
know?
people. When I got ideas, I usually keep a pad. If I'm at my work or if I'm at my desk like I am now, keep a pad and pen there. If that idea comes to mind, I usually just write it down.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm
then
in my
come back.
office, man.
Come back.
So this is the main space where I am usually. I'm in the office, just getting things established and stuff, man. But big shouts out. I can't forget the collectors, man. Y'all again are the engine behind this whole thing. I don't have a problem shutting this down the day that dries up and people tell me, yo, we ain't feeling it no more. I have no problems. But as it stands now, we got a whole lot of music still in store, and I feel like we haven't even touched the gate yet.
Mm. Dope, dope, dope. And before we go, I gotta give a shout out Q3 because this is one of my
Oh yeah,
favorites right here.
oh yeah, Def Wave, man, that joint. Look, Def Ray was a big one for us as well. Once we did Def Ray, that was like, and especially when it dropped in the summer of 2020, when there was like all the rioting and everything else going on. It was around
Hmm.
that time. So you know, that was a special album as well. And I'm like, the funny thing about that was dropping on a Friday. I think he called me Thursday night, like, look, man, I don't even know. I feel like chalking this whole thing. I don't know if people will feel it. Da 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 da. Now, mind you, I had lived with that album for like 6 months before it dropped. I'm like, look, man, nah, we dropping it Friday at 12 o'clock, and that joint sold out in a couple of days, and people still hit me
Yeah.
about it, and they love it. And Def Wave, man, I feel like that joint people should still really, really regard it. The whole library, the whole catalog, man. I don't feel like I dropped
Absolutely.
anything that's bunk. Everything I dropped has its purpose, and people appreciate different things. Everybody has a different top five, which is something else I'm proud of too. So
Dope, dope, man. And before we go, I gotta say, listen to Mark. He's got the ear for talent.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you
On
for your
behalf of our
time, yeah. Let me know if you need
good,
anything else. I'm around, yo.
definitely, definitely. I appreciate it.
No doubt, yo.
On behalf
Peace.
of our HHDG media crew, we're gonna say peace.
Peace.